Sarah? Some lady in the room next to us was born and raised in Sienna.
Needs 3 signatures.
Small world, isn't it? It'll make you more sleep.
No.
But you don't remember her name? No. Sound like me.
As soon as Patrick gives us the go, we'll get started. We'll wait for
I'm
technical.
getting everybody loaded up here.
We're good.
And we got join us now.
Yeah, Dr. Daniels could join us from the hospital.
Yeah, from surgery.
I'm sure he's up and he's asleep.
I bet he is too.
Would be.
Probably doesn't know what's going on.
Oh, interesting comments.
We make the room, the big one is the shape.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
Matt's like, so the AIE roster is, we currently have one positions.
I know. Well, I talked to David Saturday. He really enjoyed the panel on the Saturday.
Oh, really?
Lots of really good feedback in the comments too.
Did we get a lot of views?
Let me check.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she did. Who she
But
is.
it's totally two different versions of ADHD / possible autism out there.
No, we all balance each other.
Get over there and just watch that thing, see if somebody, we have.
Sure. I'll just take this coffee.
Jim,
It is reversed.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick. I'll call the meeting to order of the Arkansas Arts Advisory Council. I want to thank everyone for being here and I want to especially thank Marty, the new director of Arkansas Heritage, for joining us today. Glad you're here. Look forward to working with you.
I look forward to working with all of you as well. Thank you for the work you do.
And I know we'll all be glad for you to come visit us where in our different areas.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Okay, good deal. All right, that's one of our welcomes. And then we also want to welcome Mariah Adam. Now, what is your new job, please, ma'am?
I'm the executive director of Arkansans for the Arts. So I have nice shoes to fill.
Yeah. You're we would say brand spanking new.
Yes.
Yes, very much so. Well, welcome, and it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Mariah
It's nice to be
used
back.
On that advisory council. Yes, so thank you. Appreciate you joining. And also staff, it's always good to see y'all. Appreciate everything you do. So thank you. And then we've got, and on Zoom, Ramika, it's good to see you. Yeah, she's muted, but she can wave and say hello.
Thanks. Sorry I couldn't be there. You may hear hammering and I may have to move from spot to spot, but I'm here.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Okay. I believe we've got everybody. Yeah. Okay.
We're being streamed today by Arkansas PBS.
Oh, okay. One of my favorite television stations. The PBS fans in my house. So good. Well, that's exciting. I'll quit talking now. Okay? Thank y'all. All right, next on our agenda is approval of the minutes of May 4th, 2023. Patrick has sent these out. I hope you had time to read through them prior to our meeting today. Just a minute. Get back through.
Motion we accept the minutes
Okay, Donna has made a motion that we accept the minutes as written. Okay, Mary Ann has seconded. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand, signifying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passed, minutes are approved. Thank you all. Okay, Donna, as vice chair, has executive committee report.
Okay. The executive committee met by Zoom on July 20. Do you want me to go to Patrick first?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's all right.
I'm sorry. I had my hand over it. Sorry. My mistake. Okay, Patrick, please excuse me.
Okay. You, separate from your packet, there's a handout that just has our current budget report as of August 3rd. So it's off presses. This is, of course, still close to the beginning of the fiscal year, and so we have a lot of money burning a hole in our pockets. But it's basically, it's just like so much. It's always already committed. So we, of course, are putting out our grants right now. Send out notifications and processing invoices as we speak. And in term, I think down here, I think they meant where they say, it says AAC federal funds FY20. I believe they meant to put 24 there because we don't have any more FY20 fiscal year 20 money left. We finally burned through all that, but our federal grant, of course, we've been notified that the fiscal year 24 will be a total grant of $821,000, which is, as I've noted before, is a significant, about a $90,000 increase in our funding from NEA in 1 year. And I know that the U.S. Senate has voted to continue funding at that level for the National Endowment for the Arts, but we'll see how that goes how that works out when the budget goes to the House. And but for now, we have that increase, and of course that most of our federal funds go into arts and education. And so we were able to fully fund all our arts and education, and also put some of that into projects and mini grants. And that's essentially, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Patrick, are you able to put that on the screen or email that so I could see it?
I can. I got it so late this morning. If you'll give me a few minutes, I'll be able to put it up on the screen.
You don't have to do it right now, but if you could just send it after the meeting or something when you get a chance, I'd like to have it.
Yes, ma'am. I certainly will.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll send that up to all the counties. Yeah.
Visual form.
Yes. Thank you, Ramika. Okay. Any other questions? Do we need to approve? Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir, for your report. All right, now, Donna.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
The executive committee met by Zoom on July 24th at 4 p.m. Present were Patrick Ralston, Jim Brown, Dwayne Daniels, Christy Pullman, and myself. Jim called the meeting to order. The committee reviewed the minutes from the May meeting, and there were no corrections, but there were, weren't there?
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, there were corrections. I'm going to tell you that. We had a couple minor corrections. The committee reviewed the proposed agenda for the August meeting. Corrections were noted. Financial report was presented. Patrick was able to secure funding that was lost last year, and it will be included in this next year's budget. Then we'll review the 4 committees and we'll be making assignments to be reported at the full council meeting in August. Patrick also reported a change in leadership at the Department of Heritage. He indicated that 8 members of the Arkansas Caucus of Mid-America Board may be working closely with our Kansas for the Arts or other advocacy groups to seek additional funding sources, basically keeping Patrick informed of their activities. He also said that William Hogg will be rotating off the council. Art Links will be October 16 to 17, and our fall quarterly meeting will be immediately after lunch on the 17th, location to be announced, but highly likely to be the Robinson Center. Patrick built a map of funds received by county by grant for public use. He will be presenting it to the council at the August meeting. It should prove to be an extremely useful tool going forward. It highlights areas in Arkansas that are not requesting grants. Patrick hopes to create demand for mini grants and arts on tour in these areas. Emphasis will be placed in the areas that have minimal or no relationship with the Arts Council currently. Possibly in the future, we may be offering project grants, which could open the door to more recipients. Meeting adjourned.
Very good report. Thank you. Any questions? Donna's report of the executive committee. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Your chair report. I had asked Donna to serve as the contact for Arkansans for the Arts, which she graciously said that she would do. Being the vice chair, we thought that would be a good fit and continue to do that each time we change, and that gives us a good contact. So we're moving forward with that. That was one of the things that I've done with NASA. I have sat in on the second of 4 virtual gatherings for chair and council meetings. This was on July the 13th. And they gave what I thought were some great resources. One state legislative roundup, state art agency placement within the state government, and some information on creative economy, and then some things specifically for council members. I'm going to share this with y'all so you'll have the links. I went in and kind of looked around and I thought, oh, we all need to know this. So after the meeting, and when I get back to Mountain View, I'll share this with y'all if you would like to do that. Okay, just something you might like to put on your calendar. NASA's assembly for 2024 will be in Puerto Rico, October the 23rd through 26th. That might be a very informative conference. That sounds good. Okay. Another Zoom meeting that I sat in on from NASA was chaired by Eric Giles, and it was on engaging rural communities, and that was on July the 19th. And I know some of the staff also participated in that. They presented strategies to better engage with rural communities, and they had a panel of 3 discussing what they had been doing that was successful, and also talked about some things that didn't quite work, which is always good to know. On July the 12th, I participated in a phone conversation with a NASA board member asking questions about NASA leadership, board service, recommendation of council members and staff to represent Arkansas on the board and or committees. And I followed through with that and made some recommendations. So we'll hopefully that'll work out, because at this time, we don't have anybody on the NASA board. We've had in the past, but not currently. And so it'd be great to have some people representing Arkansas. And as far as Arkansas Arts Council, I've worked with Patrick on updating the advisory council committee list. And I'll share this with you now. The bylaws, we know that Rebecca Hurst is chair, and those were updated through 1623. Grants committee, we don't have anybody to chair the grants committee, so I volunteered myself to do that. And Donna's also on the committee because I feel like that's something we need to take a look at all the, different grants and how they work. And so we'll be working with Brazier, and look forward to doing that. Mary Ann is the chair of Arts and Education, and this is one that we need to move forward with. And Sandy's on that committee, and Matt is a staff person. So if y'all will get with Matt and work with Patrick to make sure that we're about reporting and the findings, and make recommendations to see what works and what needs to be worked on. Strategic planning, Ramika is chair of that with Kristen and Anthony. And of course, we know how important strategic planning is. That gives us our guide. Patrick's the chair, is the staff to work with on that. And we need to look at on all of these, we've got dates set for different council meetings, but because we've gotten a little bit behind on those, we'll look at when we're gonna actually ask you to have a report, working with everything else that the staff has going on. Does that sound okay, Patrick?
Yes, ma'am. I'm hoping that we can have a grants committee meeting
Okay.
fairly soon.
Okay, that sounds good, doesn't it, Donna? Yeah. Because I personally have served on several different grant committees as we're reviewing grants, and also with what I do with the Arkansas Craft School. So I think I've got a little bit of a handle on some of them. So, and I'm sure Donna feels the same way. So we'd appreciate that. Yes, ma'am, Sandy.
I just wanted to ask, did we have a report of the Arts and Education Committee at the spring meeting, last spring? No, it says spring quarterly meeting, or will this be the first one next spring?
We didn't have, I just came on this.
Okay, so.
I believe we had one.
It was in the
fall. It was last fall.
Last fall.
That wasn't you.
Jeannie was
Was on that.
Jeannie was chair at that time, and Matt did meet with that committee at that time. I think it was a Zoom.
Chair.
Jeannie was.
Oh,
and
Jeannie.
now,
Yeah. And she is no longer on the,
Right.
so.
Should we look at fall, or it says spring quarterly meeting next spring?
Okay, I took what had been listed, but yes, if you did it last fall, do you want to continue with doing it in the fall, Mary Ann? And Matt?
I'm sure we can.
So we need to get busy.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you for bringing that up. Move that to the fall. And we'll look at spring for the grants committee, Patrick. We can swap those.
I'm hoping this fall. We're
Oh,
working on
okay, well, it won't hurt if we do both of them at the same time.
it.
Get us on track.
Yeah, the dates were just a way to space the committees
Yes.
out, but certainly the committee, if committee business comes up, which I think will, because I want to talk about some changes to our grant guidelines. When business comes up, the committee should meet.
Okay,
So,
okay. Will with Donna and I, you let us know when we can work with Brazier. We look forward to that. So thank you. Thank everybody for helping out. Most important. Okay, that concludes my report. Does anybody have any questions? Yes,
Can you send us a copy of the grant of all the committees?
yes, and when I send
It's in the new one?
Okay.
Okay, it's in the new one. I'm printed off the old one. Okay, very good, thank
okay,
you.
yes, I had sent to
May,
Patrick. Yes, ma'am.
and may I add something to the NASA?
Yes,
Yes, we want somebody from Arkansas on the NASA board, but more importantly, there's no one representing the Mid-America Arts six-state region on NASA either. So we need somebody from that regional and hopefully it'll be somebody from Arkansas. It's just the representation's very important, and so we're real sensitive about keeping somebody in that position. So, thank you.
Did you volunteer?
That's what I was thinking.
Nancy volunteered.
Yes.
Okay. So, Patrick, please put that in the notes.
I know I wasn't on the committee this year, but I was last year, and I know that they are conscious of the fact that Mid-America has lost a lot of its representation, all of its representation on the board. And so they, hopefully, we will have somebody. I gave them a couple of names, people I thought would be good choices.
Why is that? Just people rotated off?
Yeah, it was just, it kind of recycles through, and it just happened that those people rotated off at the same time, because we've had great representation in the past with Garbo. She was there for a long time, and great representation from her. It's just kind of the luck of the draw. So, if you don't pay attention to it, then it lags on. So we were trying to kind of be proactive about it.
Garbo rotated off, I think, last fall.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah.
Thank you both. Patrick?
Yes, ma'am.
Your director's report, please, sir.
Madam Chair, I'm going to take need to use the computer briefly here, so I'm going to walk up there. And I don't like. And pardon me. Get my notes. We are in the process right now of releasing all of our grants for fiscal year 24. I went to the way we release them is, of course, after the council reviews, any grant that is $10,000 or over has to be reviewed by the Legislative Council's review subcommittee. So I went up there on the 18th of June with Marty, and we submitted those for review, and certainly proud of the work that we're doing. And we had a couple of questions about distribution of funding, which is always a question that I get asked about. Why is Arts Council money focused in in only certain parts of the state? The highest investment, of course, we see in metropolitan areas like Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, Central Arkansas. But anyway, so that question, it's the eternal question. And so Marty and I did address that with a couple of legislators that were asking about it. And, both of whom were in East or South Arkansas. And of course, those are areas where we see that we need to build up our presence, we need to cultivate a relationship with organizations and artists there so that we have more applications for our grants. We're a granting agency, that's what we're supposed to do. And so I explained kind of our philosophy on that and how we are working toward that end. But the grants are being invoiced right now. I'm sure that if you've talked to your local arts organizations, you know that we are in the process of doing all the paperwork, and we'll begin our payment schedule here pretty soon. And so, the questions that we had from legislators on the Legislative Council and their concerns about distribution, gave me, kind of reminded me that I had been intending to start mapping, begin using a map to, let's see, I'm gonna share the screen here. We'll begin mapping our grants so that they're easier to visualize exactly where we are putting our funding. And to that end, I last week, in answer to some of their questions, I put together this interactive map using a new service that we are using. And I've sent a link out to everybody on the council, and it's in the link. I'll also send it out when I send the information, fiscal information out to you, our budget report. And this is a really handy overview of where we have spent money in the last 8 years. These are 8 solid years that we've used the Foundry system. And so the numbers are reliable, and we didn't have to clean them up. And but it gives you, it's kind of a heat map, shows you the counties where we are, where we have had the most grant requests, or where the most grants have been funded. And you can see, of course, those are in the red. Predictably, Central Arkansas, Hot Springs, several outliers here, Batesville and Izard County, and Texarkana and El Dorado, Union County. But also it allows you to zoom in and click on a individual, in this case, it's Woodruff County has had several grants, and these are all, I think, these are all Woodruff County Library, and you can click on each one and see, there we go. The request amount, this is probably a mini, I was gonna say, Arts on Tour grant right here. And it was $150. It was for FY17, it's an Arts on Tour presentation application. And you can actually zoom down into any one of these, down to any one of these points on the map, and you can see how much the grant was. And you can also click on the county, and you can see how much, the total grants that have been received in that time period, that eight-year time period. Jackson County, 22,920. So, this is, it's kind of a handy map just to get an idea of where we need to focus our attention on building relationships with potential grant recipients. We have 10 counties that are that have not had grant funding in the last 8 years. Now, that does not mean that this does not include things like fellowships or Sally Williams grants or other programs that we provide. But just in terms of grants to organizations, that these are counties where it is hard to find. We don't have a lot of partners to apply for grants. We have potential partners. The arts are out there. Just because we don't see people applying doesn't mean that they aren't out there. And so what we have begun to do, using this kind of data, is to focus work, and especially in the last year. Tanja Enoch, our development manager, our community development manager, has been focused on this. And that's to try to kind of take it to the people, to get out in these communities and bring folks together and tell them about our grant programs, what it takes to apply, how what we require, what the match is,
And we also, we try to make it kind of an event. So it's what we call a lunch and learn. And I think Brazier probably mentioned some of this when she, Tanja's not here today, but Brazier has been on several of these. And with the lunch and learns, we bring people together to this event. We talk about the grants. We eat a box lunch usually. And then we have our consultant, Shaquetta Cunningham, gives kind of an overview, it's kind of a nonprofit one-on-one. And, a lot of these folks already have established nonprofits, and some of them are doing after-school programs, community programs that would benefit from being able to, say, bring in an Arts on Tour presenter, or to bring in an artist, a short-term artist residency, bring in a teaching artist from our roster, and to do programs, to offer art programs in their communities. So these meetings, we have had several across Eastern Arkansas in the last, I'm going to say it's really been about 10 months now, from Osceola to Jonesboro we did a couple from Marvel and Helena in Phillips County, St. Francis County, Forest City. All of these, we put the word out as best we can, and it seems like we always get more interested parties than we were expecting, than that immediately registered. I don't think it's just the food. It's, the food's good. But it's the quality of the program. It's certainly the quality of Shaquetta Cunningham and her work. She's a great speaker, a very knowledgeable in the ways of nonprofits. And we just managed to get people in the room, talk about our grants, and it's like I've said to you all, and I say all the time, 90% of success is just showing up. And for too long, I think that the Arts Council, in its 55-year history, we've tried to conduct our programs from Little Rock. And certainly in the age of social media, we can just assume that we can send out a Facebook event and talk about these things, and that people will just, learn about our programs. But the fact is that if you want to build these communities of partnerships out there, we got to go there. And that's what we're doing. That's what Tanja has been doing, and that's what Brazier has been doing. And all of us on the staff have, at one time or another, of these programs have been out there in the field helping out with this. And I think that it's going to bear fruit. I think we're going to begin to see people using more of our mini grants, more of Arts on Tour. And, as they develop as organizations, they might move up into project grants, or perhaps even apply someday for general operating support. So it's an evolutionary process, but it is a process. It takes face time. It takes boots on the ground. It takes shoe leather. I'm trying to think of another metaphor here. But we all, you got to get out there and you got to talk to people, and that's what we're doing. And so far, the engagement has really been exciting. And so I'm hoping that is going to show a lot of growth. Sorry, I took you down that rabbit hole, but I think it's very important for what we do right now. Certainly right now, our work with our partners, Mid-America, we will have a Mid-America Arts Alliance board meeting in early November, and I'll be attending that. I would imagine Nancy's probably going to be there too. That'll be in Tulsa. And then I'll be going to a NASA leadership, our annual, it's our off-year meeting, and the NASA meeting will be in Santa Fe this year. It's in December, I think early December. But overall, I will tell you that this year with the recoup of some of our conservation tax money. We are able to fund our general operating support at 40%. And that is a good thing. We will continue to manage the grants in a way so that we hopefully we're going to make some changes. Hopefully we are intending to make changes to the project support grant so that that money can be more flexible. It would primarily be funded by federal funds, and it will help eliminate some of the glut in federal funds that we have. And we'll also be able to put it out in the field faster, be more responsive for small projects, whether it's a city or a nonprofit that has is putting together a festival or, an arts walk in their community, something like that. We will be able to move quicker, hopefully, if we revise the rules and be able to get our funds out there quicker and not just tell them, well, you're gonna have to wait 18 months till the next grant cycle. And with that, you're gonna hear a lot of details from the staff about their individual programs. That's kind of an overview, but I encourage you to try out. I know I've sent the link to this map out to you all, and I will send it again, and I will update you on any changes that we make to it. But for right now, I'm just leaving it out there for you all to play with. If you have any problems with it, you notice anything strange, like I did have somebody tell me that we did have a point. We apparently did have one of our grants show up in Houston, Texas, and one in South Carolina, and I was actually able to fix the point so that they were all in the state. But that happens. But anyway, with that, I will take any questions, Madam Chair.
A question, what brought the awareness when you went before the legislature? What brought the awareness that there was some kind of discrepancy in the granting across the state?
Our first question came from Representative Frances Cavanaugh, who is a former board member of the Delta Symphony. And so she knows, firsthand the struggle of a nonprofit in a rural area. And it was just a question of, what are you doing, to bring more funding to more rural areas, to the areas that are not Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. The big metropolitan areas. And so it gave me an opportunity, me and Marty, to kind of talk about our feeling about, how we're trying to build relationships. You can't give grant without somebody applying for it. And you can't just sit there and wait for somebody to apply. We need to be out there cultivating those partnerships. But that's, and Representative Beatty, who's from down in Ashley County, down there across it, I think, also had similar questions. And, it's just a standard, it's an opportunity for us to talk about what we're doing. And was kind of the impetus for the map. I've been wanting to do this. And so it was a good opportunity.
And if I could add one thing, Patrick, they weren't singling out the Arts Council. There were other groups that got similar questions about funding seemed to be more centralized and hard to reach rural areas. So we weren't the only ones that they asked the questions of, but it was a great opportunity, and Patrick did a great job with it, and putting this together is fantastic, and commend you on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're submitting this map post that meeting, and
This
map was not available at the meeting?
They requested this.
Okay.
Yes. Well, they requested something similar to this.
They just said, can you get us a heat map? And then usually, having been on that side, I know that usually it's a paper map. But in this case, that it's a little bit more. And this is something that I have been wanting to do with the data that we've had since, some of the meetings you and I have been in with
right.
the Mid-America Board.
So was there anything that you or the staff saw in this that I don't know, surprised you or made you aware of something? Was there anything in this that showed you something that you had forgotten or weren't aware of?
I think the first thing that shows, there's not a whole lot of surprise in where the red is, where the money is most concentrated. I think that one of the things that I found encouraging is that the counties that are kind of in the middle, down, are just beginning to have some grant interaction. They're having, the grants that they're getting are mini grants and Arts on Tour. And that tells me that if we get more people involved, that's kind of where we start. That's kind of the training wheels for getting somebody into our grant programs. Is, hey, look at our mini grants. You look at our grants for lifelong learning, our grants for schools, our grants for veterans. Certainly, bringing veteran service programs. We're trying to bring these disparate groups in to apply. And coming out of COVID, it's still a challenge. It set us back, but we're now seeing, people are waking up and looking at these things. These are opportunities, and we're also we've eased up on our our match requirements, taking an easier line on in-kind services as part of their match. Because, a big problem for these, especially East Arkansas, East Arkansas, rural schools, is that making cash match is hard. It can be the difference between getting a grant, bringing an artist in and not getting it. And so we are trying to, we're in the business of giving this money away for projects that need to be funded. And we are doing everything we can to make it easier for them. Everything that we can do within the guidelines of the National Endowment for the Arts and state law to give this money out to people who need it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Patrick. Very helpful.
I just want to say the map's wonderful. I had a lot of fun playing with it. Very informative, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Arkansas for the Arts, Donna, back with you, please.
So I was able to make contact with the new chair. I believe she's relatively new, Jean Lacefield, and they had a Zoom meeting July 10th, which I was invited to, a special called meeting to vote on hiring a new part-time executive director, which they did, and she's with us here today, Mariah Hanna, who we all know, and everybody's really excited about her coming on board and on what her vision for the organization is. And I did hear a lot of excitement in the meeting, and they have a lot of activities and a lot of plans. They're going to amend their bylaws. They've got a lot going on, I think. And so I was kind of encouraged, to hear that conversation. I was asked about getting them hooked up with ArtLinks, and I did make that connection, but I'm out of the loop now. So I know they're participating at ArtLinks. They didn't know who they were going to send because Mariah hadn't even been on board yet. So they felt like she was probably not the one they were going to send. And so whoever they voted on to send, they were going to notify Sherry. Did they?
Yeah, it's going to be Mariah and Aaron Holiday together. Yeah.
All right. So they are going to be there, and they are going to have a moment to present. They're on the agenda. So that's all good news, and I think moving in the right direction.
Thank you, ma'am. Very informative. We appreciate knowing what's going on. Thank you. Nancy for Mid-America, please.
I attended the Mid-America Arts Alliance meeting in Kansas City, Missouri on Wednesday, June 6th through Friday, June 8th. Meetings were held at the Mid-America at the Mid-America Arts Alliance offices and in the meeting rooms of the downtown Marriott. The meetings included the State Arts Agency meeting with the executive directors and chairs of 6 states. Missouri had a 45% increase in funding, and they are now back to their 08 numbers. Kansas state budget doubled. Nebraska changed the name of their Governor's Arts Award to State Arts Award, but the governor still hands out the awards. Texas funding has been good. Oklahoma is up to a 15% increase. The main discussion was about culture wars and how the individual organizations are dealing with the culture wars and all the topics that relate to that. And one of the important aspects of that was a comment by one of the executive directors that they added in their grants the wording comply with state obscenity laws to kind of subvert a lot of the questioning and issues that came along with the culture wars. It seems like it's very deep and complex by listening to all the other states. And as we discussed in this State Arts Agency meeting about the NASA board representation for Mid-America. I attended the exhibitions committee. They talked about the brochure and that there's 26 exhibits on the road now. I attended the marketing meeting. There was a discussion about the annual report and how to make it modular and pull it apart for different vehicles of the organization. I attended and I am on the committee for governance, and we reviewed the budget for meetings, vacancy on the board, re-elections, and strategic plan. I attended the development committee and they reviewed the fundraising plan on arts and humanity grants program. It was wonderful presentations by individual artists. That was very moving. It was just really great. And we talked on the professional development committee, we talked about Artist 360, Artist Inc., and Catalyze. Patrick attended the Arkansas caucus meeting along with Ed Clifford, John Godan, Melissa Toma, Garbo Hearn. We have a new member, Jimmy Cunningham, who's great, from Pine Bluff. He had so much energy. Denise Gardner was absent, but she did attend by phone later in the meeting. We talked about arts and cultural district, and then Margaret sent a data sheet for Arkansas, and we followed up with a meeting by request to continue the conversation in mid-July. The one kind of interesting point that happened was in Arkansas, we have the wonderful opportunity that the Waltons and Wingate have given us, and the other states really look to us, in admiration for these two wonderful funders and all the possibilities that it's brought. And you think, oh, everybody's doing this, but they really admire, these two, wonderful, one organization, one family giving us money, and it really makes a difference. And the question personally that I had was, do we show enough appreciation to these funders? Do we recognize them enough? Is there enough appreciation from us, either individually or as an arts council? Because they really are making a huge difference in the state. And when you go to these regional meetings, it really gives you a wider view of what you're doing. And it really kind of clarifies what you're doing. And I think we're doing a lot of really great things, but I think we're doing it because of some people who are really supporting us. And I think, that's just a question that I had in my mind. So it's just my personal thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. It's always very informative. Thank you. Does anybody have a question for Nancy? Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, let's move on to Scarlett, Individual Artist Fellowship.
Yes, so the Individual Artist Fellowship Awards, we're in the process of finishing notifications, but we do need your approval for them. I've listed here all of these. These are the individual grants that are $5,000 each for up to 18 creatives in 6 categories. We talked a little bit about this last time, so I'm not sure. Panelists review these in March, April, and no, it was March, April, and sometimes in June. We had some difficulty getting everybody together. In the report that I have before you, there is a list of the people, the grantees who were awarded, also the panelists who were sitting on the panels, and also a summary of what the panelists said for the panel review process.
It's page 9.
From page 9.
Starts on page 9 and continues. It's until 16. It looked shorter when I was making it short, so I apologize for that. We had really good turnout for this year's applications. It was higher than the year before, so that's always a good sign. Also, this is the second year for our expansion of the fellowship program. So it went from the traditional 3 categories to 3 more new categories to make up visual arts, literary arts, performance arts, contemporary craft, multi-sensory art, and community engagement. Community engagement category is actually one of our strongest categories. We have a lot of creatives all across Arkansas who are doing things to engage their community, create dialogue, educational experiences, really bring people together. So the people that we have as the top 3 are quite impressive, including people working with music and bring together programs in the Ozark area, people who do storytelling and weaving and traditional preservation for the Marshallese, and people who do different engagements with social justice issues. So I'm also I thought the contemporary craft one was pretty interesting. I guess as a note, there were no panelists in any panels who disagreed. So it was all unanimous for each of these particular categories.
Can you just kind of walk them through each category?
Oh, sure. So,
You don't have to give you don't have to read the bios or anything, just give the names of
Sure. In performance arts stand-up comedy, we had Jordan Williams of Fayetteville, Joseph Molinaro of North Little Rock, Charles Nicholas Moore of Maumelle. In the categories of written theater monologue, we had Adrian Dawes of Fayetteville, Mary Sue Price of Fayetteville, Sarah Lokes of Austin. For oil or acrylic painting on canvas, we had Joelle Sporet, Neil Callender, Savannah Kauser, all of Fayetteville. We had in contemporary craft with a metal component, Jerry Fisk of Nashville, Lynn Ray of Prattsville. Interestingly, he's also our Arkansas Living Treasure this year. So Paula Casey McGee of Dover. In community engagement, we had Shine Bentham of Springdale, Simone Cottrell of Fayetteville, and Rachel Reynolds of Fox. In multi-sensory works, we had Aaron Turner, LB Mann, Yannick Mitchell Graham. questions or?
Scarlett, how much is the award this year?
How much is the what? The award is 5,000 each for each creative. They can use it in any way they want. This is a statewide grant. It's one of the very few grants that is like this, even nationally. We are very unique that way. We're statewide. It does not fund a project. It is for the creative. It can cover anything from helping you acquire a studio space to if you have babysitting needs. It helps basically set you up so that maybe you can have more time to create in Arkansas. It is also for creatives living and working in the state of Arkansas, and they have to had to have been here at least a year doing so.
I did notice that there are several who are from out of state.
There are several panelists from out of state, yes. All of our grantees are in-state. However, not all of our panelists are from in-state. There were some in-state panelists. It's hard to grade things like community engagement if you do not have anyone from the Arkansas community to say whether it's actually engaging.
Is there any follow-up on this to see how the artist used the funds like you do with individual organizations?
We don't require them to tell us or to use the funds in any particular way. They can use it for whatever. Most of the time when they do come to our arts celebration, the fellowship awards reception, they do tell us what they're going to use it for. Oftentimes we have creatives who use it, like I said, to buy studio space, they buy equipment. Sometimes they use it for living space or family needs. Oftentimes they save it for emergencies. I, example, use mine to take my car after I cleaned it. But like, so we do have creatives that use it in different ways. The last time, we did have people who even gave money back to the nonprofit that had been supporting them in other ways, so.
But in the grants, there's no guidelines like.
How do you use this?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask, so thank you, Anson. How were these funds used?
Well, they submit an application, and as part of the application, they submit work that they have been doing.
Right.
So it's based on a body of work, and it's a recognition of that body of work. In some ways, it's I talk a lot about us doing this artist services being a workforce investment, and what this is recognizing the panel recognizing the body of work that the artist brings in the application, and then basically investing in their continuing their career in Arkansas. We have an incredible brain drain in this state of artists. They're going to Kansas City, they're going to Dallas, they're going to Memphis. Those are just the close ones. They're going to New Mexico. We are trying to keep them in state, and usually when they tell us what they're going to do with the money, it is it's reinvesting in their practice.
So the categories, are those the same every year, or do you change them up as far as what?
So the grant is. It traditionally there were 3, and those stay the same, but the inside of them kind of changes. So the traditional ones were performing arts, literary arts, and visual arts. We rotate the categories within those 3. Then we had a couple years ago, we got an expansion of this program from Wingate Foundation, and that allowed us to create new ones. We created those new categories, which are contemporary craft, community engagement, and multisensory work. We do within those 2 try to change it a little bit. So this year, multisensory included a tactile component. We asked the creatives who were doing this submitted artwork, or the body of work that they did had to have a tactile component along with another sensory. This particular art form is meant to allow people to experience art more than one way, which is kind of an accessibility issue. The other one that we changed with contemporary craft this year was metal, last year was textile.
I can ask, personally, how do you feel about that? Do you think that there needs to be more checks and balances? I mean, $5,000 is a lot of money, and yes, it's validating, and I agree with that. But
No, I don't, honestly. We're funding the artists as a whole, and the artists that talk to me are, they weep when they get this award. And so, no, I don't.
okay, thank you.
I think it's kind of a little bit, we used to just refer to it only as an award, and we've lately started calling it a grant. And I think that's kind of muddying the waters a little bit when you start thinking about it.
Okay.
And I think if we lean more toward award, which is what it really, really is, it kind of.
We process it as a grant. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
And it's modeled a little bit after Artist 360, which is exactly what the Walton Foundation does and Mid-America Arts Alliance. These follow the standards that they've already created. We're not doing particularly anything new.
Mariah has a question.
I don't know if I'm allowed to comment, but Ansi and others, the people that I know that have received this or similar ones, they use it, $5,000 could cover, 2, maybe 3 months rent. So they don't have to go out and get a second job and can use more of their full time to be creatives. So it really does help the artists in their practices.
And the total budget for this is what, 30,000?
total budget, it was 36,000. We had $36,000 in it. And then we get 54,000 a year for this 3-year cycle from Wingate. And so it's now 90,000. And that doesn't seem like very much support from Wingate, but it has changed the nature of this program so profoundly. It allowed us to increase the amount of the grants for the first time in I don't know how many years, at least 12. And then it allowed us to increase the number of categories. Because it used to just be, most of the years I've been here, it's been 9 people.
Right.
And this is, we're reaching more people. We've kind of made it the flagship of artist services in a way. It's become much more high profile.
Thank you.
Oh, if I may make a comment, maybe we do need to change, because when you say grant, I'm thinking about grant report, because that's what we do when we get a GOA.
I created a grant report at the end. Because this is a Wingate funded project, it requires a quarterly report.
Okay. But I mean, for the Arts Council and change it to being an award in name, because if there's no requirement for the recipient to make a report back to the Arts Council about how it's spent, maybe it ought to go back, like you mentioned, Patrick, to being an award.
Well, again, I mean, I use the word grant only because that's the way in our finances it's categorized.
It's processed, yeah.
It's processed, but yeah, I mean, it's always been an award. I mean, it's a fellowship award.
Okay. Thanks for everybody's input. Good food for thought.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work on this.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I sat on
I
several
do
of
too.
those.
It's a lot of work.
And
It's a lot of
it was
moving
very
parts.
interesting, very informative to see what's going on. Learned a lot. So
In
thank you.
Charlotte, I read it was Austin, Arkansas, or Austin, Texas. So-
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you again, Scarlett. Okay, program staff reports, Brazier.
So I need to go to the
Please.
hot desk.
Or Mika can hear you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'll
do
just
we
say
have to
that
vote on this?
item 9, the
Oh, we
individual,
needed to vote?
you just need to vote to adopt the panel recommendations.
Okay, excuse us, let's back up. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Okay, Nancy, a second, please.
Second.
Second. Nancy's made the motion and Sandy's made a second that we adopt the individual artist fellowship panel recommendation. All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all. Thank you, Patrick, for helping keep me straight. Okay, now Brazier, please.
Good afternoon. Just my report is gonna be brief. Some of the things Patrick has already mentioned. As he did mention, we have already notified the FY24 grantees, those grantees that you were able to review on during the May meeting. We were able to notify them this past week, and now they are getting all the documentation in, the contracts and everything, all the documentation that we need in order to process their grant. Just in case you are asked, the arts and education grantees will begin receiving their payments in August. We try to get those out in August because, as you know, school starts, and most of those organizations, their programs and projects are connected with the schools. The collaborative project support payment will go out at the middle of September. They get their entire payment in one lump sum. General operating support payments will also start in September, and these payments are in installments. Most of them are in 4 installment payments. Also, as Patrick showed the map and what we're doing to address the different needs in the rural and underserved communities, Tanja has developed, you all know, the Lunch and Learns, and they have been going strong, and we have been visiting underserved communities. I have been presenting information on all of our grant opportunities, especially when some of the staff is not able to go. I have to be there. And so I present information on all our grants if need be. Sometimes, as Patrick indicated, sometimes the other staff are able to come. The Lunch and Learns have been going very well. They have been well attended, depending on the community population that we're in. Also, Tanja had a series of Zoom Lunch and Learns in May. And that way she was able to have people from all different areas at one time to participate in the Lunch and Learn. And that was very productive. As was said, Shanquetta Cunningham is a nonprofit consultant, and she really speaks to people who are attempting to become nonprofit organizations, to get their nonprofit status, and those who just want to strengthen their organizations as nonprofit. This is helpful to us because, as you all know, you have to be a 501c3 nonprofit unless you're a government agency or school in order to apply for a grant with us. So this really helps our reach to get more nonprofits established. People who want to establish them, give them the help that they need in order to do that. So this has been, these workshops have been very successful. We had one in Jonesboro on May 22nd. Let's see. We had one in Mariana on June 6th. We had one in Osceola on June 28th. And our Tanja's not here, but I will let you know that she is already started setting up ones for the next few months in other areas. So they're continuing to go strong. And you know, as said, more arts for more Kansans is what we want. On May 2nd, Tanja and I did a site visit to our Kansas. We met with Leslie Golden. You all remember Leslie. She was the director of Wildwood, and now she's the associate director at Arkansas. We did a site visit there, and she gave us a tour, gave us information about the upcoming festival that they are extremely excited about. On May 11th, I attended a Zoom meeting sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts, NEA. The meeting was federal grant opportunities that are available through the National Endowment for Humanities and the Institute of Museums and Library Services. I did not realize the amount of opportunities that these two organizations offer for arts organization and for artists. This was very surprising to me. And so when we attend these different meetings, they give us more resources to pass on to our organizations to help them supplement. As you all know, of course, what we give is usually just a tiny bit of what's needed for these organizations. And so anytime we can help them to supplement their income, we refer them to other resources like Mid-America to let them know what else is out there to help. So that was a very informative meeting. Tandy and I were given a tour of the Arkansas Fine Arts Museum on May 25th. As you all know, it's bright, shiny, and new. If you have not been there, please get out there. It is beautiful. They took us to where all their classes meet, all their art classes meet. And we were able to go into all their different arts classes and actually were able to see a couple of arts demonstrations. So if you have not been there, it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Let's see, I'm just gonna hit a few things. Some of these things, some of the others are gonna be discussed, so I'm not gonna go into. I facilitated a breakout session for our NASA grant managers peer meeting. As you all know, I'm one of the coordinators of the NASA grants managers peer, or the peers, the part of the peer of NASA. And in that, we come together with all of the different grant managers throughout the country, period. And they all come together and we discuss our challenges as grant managers, information that we need, topics that we need to discuss. And I'm one of the facilitators for that. The last meeting we had was on arts and health. I don't know if you all have heard, but that is a big topic right now that the NEA is attempting to address is arts and health. Now, if you all remember, we have already been addressing arts and health with some of the organizations that we fund. For example, the Arts and Education with Methodist Health, Behavior Center. You all know that we fund them. We also fund Washington Regional Medical, who uses our grants funds to help bring art to their cancer patients and the families of their cancer patients. Children's Hospital, you know, that they bring arts and education into the hospital. So we, and our veterans, Michael Eubanks works with our veterans to bring art therapy to veterans in the state. So we're already addressing some issues. Now, some states actually have grants that are just specific for arts and health. We have not gone that far yet. That may be something we think about in the future. But right now, I feel like we are addressing arts and health in our own way. So I was able to share some of that information with you. As Jen, I did attend the Engaging Rural Communities NEA meeting, reaching out to underserved rural areas of your state. It was a very informative meeting. The 3 different states explained how they're reaching out to their rural and underserved areas. And we're all basically doing about the same thing. Getting out, that's number one. That's the number one thing that we're all doing, is having to get out of our walls and get out into these areas and bring our opportunities into the areas. And I feel like we're doing a great job of that. And lastly, of course, Sherry has been working tirelessly on Art Links, and I've been assisting her in that as much as possible. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Brazier. Very informative. Yes. Scarlett? Please.
The highlights for individual artist services were, of course, the fellowship awards. We also had about 75 people attend the reception for the Arkansas Living Treasure Lynn Ray during a joint event with Historic Arkansas Museum on June 17th. There's also a video on our YouTube page in case you wanted to see the feature film on our Arkansas Living Treasure. We also had almost 30 Get Smart workshops, and more than we've had more than probably 150 or so people who have attended. Interestingly, we have all over the state virtual attendance, also in person, and sometimes from out of state. So people are very hungry for our professional development workshops. So we also will have listening sessions for what the community needs coming up in September and October. This will be the third year that we've done these, just to hear back and touch base with community members about what they feel like is needed or lacking in terms of professional development and or services that we can offer. We also will be reapplying to expand the fellowship awards through a grant from Wingate Foundation. The application deadline is October 1st, so we'll be working on that. There is a report further back on the Artist Inc. and Artist Inc. programs. That's Artist Inc. Express and Artist Inc. Live. One is a deep dive 3-day course into professional development that spans it basically develops the authentic voice for the creatives, allows them to connect, and then also provides a kind of a dive into what they need to succeed in a professional arts endeavor. And that is expanded into an 8-week course with Artist Inc. Live. This fiscal year, we will be having 2 Artist Inc. Expresses, one in Pine Bluff, one in Fort Smith. We will have 2 virtual Artist Inc. Expresses, one condensed version of what works, which is basically an overview of what would work for your grant applications overall. We will also join Mid-America with a grant overview workshop, which will talk about the Catalyze program that they offer for Central Arkansas, the Artist 360 program that they offer in Northwest Arkansas, and our own fellowship award, which are statewide grants for $5,000 each. The dates for these programs are listed here, so that's good. We will have 2 live, the 8-week courses. One will be in Little Rock, one will be in Pine Bluff. And we will have, of course, the individual artist fellowship reception as part of Art Links, Sherry will talk about. And so we will be having that at Old State House Museum on the Monday, October 16th, 5 to 8. Everyone is welcome. We are still working on the program, but this will be a chance for the creatives to be celebrated themselves and for them to demonstrate or have a spot for them to showcase their own artworks. We already have several who plan to exhibit some of their crafts. So it's a good experience. And other than that, we are going to be reopening applications for the fellowships December 1st. And this next coming up here, we're trying to make the program that falls in line with the other grants and awards. So I'm gonna open them December 1st, close them, and then be able to present to you in May instead of waiting until August. So, and that's really all. We have several Get Smart workshops that are coming up, including a podcasting for artists, how to value your artwork, research for writing. We also have some more that I'm working on, including like how to edit your own works, which can be concise for your grant proposals and stuff like that. That's all in the works.
Question.
Yes.
AIX.
Yes, that is what Mid-America Arts Alliance calls it, is Artist Inc. Express.
Oh, Artist Ink Express is, okay. On page 26, you mentioned that you're struggling with the marketing campaigns. Is there something I can help with, or do we need?
Those, if it's with Artist Inc., it relies on their own programs, and last year we did have some problems, especially when their turnover was happening with communications. There was an error in one of their news releases. There was difficulty getting a hold of them. This was an ongoing problem. They are also not used to marketing a state agency. We are the first, as far as I know, state agency that has taken on this program, and they're used to working with nonprofit organizations. So I think that's about to be all worked out, just because they now have a communications person in place when they didn't have one before. So we struggled to get things like logos on time, or approval for news releases, or for them to let us look at the news release in a timely manner, or for them to put up the Eventbrite in a way that we could get to the registration. Those are all logistical concerns that they're off with Mid-America Arts Alliance.
Thank you, Scarlett.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Great. Matt?
I'm going to start out with the Poetry Out Loud program. My report is going to be brief. I'm kind of in the calm before the storm, before the school year starts. As you know, dealing with arts and education. After attending national finals in Washington, D.C. In May, and several meetings and small groups that we had there, I came up with the idea to have, I wrote 4 in my report, but 5 main poets. I'm going to have several planning meetings with them and send them out to different areas of the state. I have poets that will be traveling to Northeast Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas, Central and South Arkansas, so we can cover a lot of the state. My goal is for them to go in and do workshops provided by the Arts Council, and then have them connect with the teachers directly for me, so they can help with the school contest to increase our numbers. If you're not aware, last year was our first in-person event that we held at the King Opera House in Van Buren, and it was a major success. Our only lacking was our participation numbers, so I'm hoping that this plan with the poets going forward will increase our numbers and increase participation throughout the state. Also have been working this summer with the Department of Education Fine Arts Coordinator, Sarah Burns. She had the idea to start doing professional development for fine arts teachers in the state. We discussed ideas how to do this in the most productive way and how the Arts Council could be involved. And she decided that we should go to 4 different arts centers around the state. The first one was held in June in Pine Bluff at the Arts and Sciences Center. Last week, we had professional development at the Walton Arts Center. Tuesday? Yes. Sorry, I think this is all happening last week. Tuesday, we were in Jonesboro at the Foundation of the Arts, and then tomorrow we'll be at the South Arkansas Arts Center in El Dorado. These professional developments for fine arts teachers, their breakout sessions are being all led by teaching artists from our arts and education roster. And they've also given me an opportunity to talk with the teachers in person about the Arts Council's programming, specifically mini grants, as Patrick mentioned before. It's a great way to get their foot in the door with our grants, and especially get them experiencing our teaching artists. Attendance has been very good. Pine Bluff was about 15, Walton Arts Center had 42. Jonesboro, there's about 25, and there's about 20 teachers attending the El Dorado one. So it has been a good success for us so far, and the breakout sessions have been great for the teachers. They're sick of doing professional developments on Zooms, and it's getting them back in their local community arts centers, getting them engaged, and being able to talk to them face to face. Once again, all those sessions, they're being led by our teaching artists. On July 18th, the Arts and Education Review Panel was held. Donna Young, Sarah Burns from the Department of Ed, and artist Kate Thomas were on the panel for that. We had 10 artists and organizations that were added to our roster. So as they're sending me their information in, Lindsay is very quickly turning around and building their website for them. I was very excited to have organizations apply, because not a lot of people realize you can be on the arts education roster as an organization, as an entity. So I'm excited for that, and we already have prospects for the review coming up in December. Let's see. Veterans grants, we have a Gold Star family organization in Arkansas called Hearts of Our Heroes. They are doing 4 sessions for all the Gold Star family members in Arkansas. The first one was held in June by artist Elizabeth Weber. She has 3 more sessions coming up. The next one will be in August, and I'll be attending all of those sessions as well. It was a really great program for those families. Also had the opportunity last week to go to Methodist Family Health Clinic to view the same artist, Elizabeth Weber, work with the teens there, and she's doing fantastic work. And the art and health topic that Rachel mentioned before, I believe, is going to be a panel as well in Art Links that I'm sure Sherry will discuss. You'll see in front of you, you have a flyer pamphlet. That is our new pamphlet that Lindsay and her team created for Arts Across Arkansas. Last year, if you may or may not know, in our pilot year, we had 120 students that were nominated for this program from 41 different school or educational settings throughout with all 6 mediums combined. Now that this program is a sound and solid program going forward, no longer in its pilot phase, I expect that these numbers will at least double. And it is very helpful that I've been going to these professional developments, because I'm talking to teachers face to face, and they can ask questions about this program. It really is minimal work for them. Excuse me. But they're all are very excited. One of the main comments I get from them is just thank you for doing something like that for their kids. So also, Brazier wanted me to mention these review panel sheets. If you can fill these out on your way out, you'll notice the Arts on Tour panel is going to be in person in Little Rock. Last year when we had the Arts on Tour review process via Zoom, I didn't find it very effective, considering this is our performance roster. So we're going to have them come in person this year. So if you wouldn't mind filling out those sheets before you leave, we'd really appreciate it. Also, I'll be attending NASA's Arts and Education Professional Development coming up in November in Salt Lake City, Utah. I will be presenting about the Arts Across Arkansas program there for a brief 5 to 10 minute presentation. They pick about 4 or 5 programs or projects from around the state, and mine was chosen to present at the NASA, the NASA AIUPD. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Matt. The brochure is very attractive.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Again, that was David, but.
Yeah, both of you. Thank you. Okay. Sharon, no, Tanya, excuse me.
Tanya's out today, and I think we've kind of covered some of, Brazier covered some of what Tanya's been up to. Here we go. But if you just go through her activities, she talks about the various programs that she's been doing, the Lunch and Learn. Trying to get people involved and interested in our grants. I think the next one, do we have a date yet for Washita County, Camden?
We don't have a date for Camden yet. She's trying to do Brinkley in this month.
Mostly been in East Arkansas, but we're getting interest from other parts of the state.
Yes, a lot of interest.
Yeah, word gets out, and people are hungry for this information.
Thank you. All right, now Sherry.
You can pull the mic over if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So we have Art Links coming up
It's our statewide arts conference on October 16th and 17th. And we printed out the schedule for you. If you could kind of look through that, I'm not gonna read it all out loud. But we're currently promoting it on our website. The registration form is open. And we're hoping when you're in your communities to encourage people to register any of the arts administrators, educators, artists that you know. It is a good lineup of speakers and topics. Just kind of take a look at that. There's a session on art therapy, on the economic impact of the arts, bringing the arts to local schools. And as Scarlett said, the reception is going to be Monday night for the fellowship awards, and that's at the Old State House Museum. So it's right next to the Robinson Center. You can walk over there at the end of the day. I think I've heard from 4 of you already that you plan to attend.
So what was the date of that?
It's October 16th and 17th. Yeah.
Do we let you know or register online?
You can just email me. Yeah, because you're comped, so yeah. Registration is $100 for the full conference, $75 for Monday only. That includes the lunch and the reception. And if you wanted to, someone wanted to come Tuesday only, it's $50. So we're trying to meet everybody's needs there. And we do have a limited number of scholarships we're offering for individual creatives with a financial hardship. So that's on the registration form too. And then our next council meeting follows on the second day, October 17th, when the conference ends. So we are also accepting nominations for the Governor's Arts Awards. That form is live. And as you know, you can't nominate, but you can think about who's in your community who deserves to be nominated and put somebody up to doing that. The deadline is September 15th, so there's still quite a bit of time. And we'll do our awards event in spring. Small Works on Paper is still happening for 2023. It's about to open at UA Little Rock School of Art and Design. You'll remember we had one of our council meetings over there. So this is a new gallery space and we're excited about it. The reception is going to be Thursday, September 7th from 5:30 to 7:30. And the last 2 locations of the year will be at Arkansas Tech in Russellville in October and UA Fort Smith, where we also had a council meeting at that new gallery space in November. So, and then there's some other things in my report. But any questions for me?
Sherry, I had one. Can you hear me? Did I understand correctly about the Art Links? Did you want, even though we've told you we're going to come, did you still want us to fill out the registration form?
No, I got your email, so that's good.
Okay, thank you.
So how do we pay?
It's not, we don't have to pay the registration fee.
Okay.
Thank you. Lindsay, please.
Quite a short series. In my report, you can see that we've had some really great growth online. We see a steady incline of followers and engagement, especially when we have posted photos, which is one thing that I've been trying to do is when people submit their final reports for any grant opportunities, they have to submit photos as well. So we like to share those outwards and say like, hey, grant money in action. And one of them that went really well was the veterans program that just happened. It was an art opportunity with Gold Star Families, and that did really well online. And also just recent things that have happened, Small Works on Paper, individual artists fellowships, So we've had a lot of really good engagement recently. And then some other things, I didn't include on here, but I've been making notes this whole time. Yesterday, Scarlett and Matt did an art talks, just a Facebook Live, just kind of very, very casual, talking about all the events and programs and things coming up. So far, it's gotten over 600 views. It's got about 10 comments. It was really fun. It's only about 20 minutes long if you don't want to watch, but we plan to do those more often, maybe monthly, just to kind of have another way of getting our information out there. And the videos, our video views are basically with replays. So if we get it out there, and even though we don't have about 3 or 4 people watch it live, we've had 600 in the last 24 hours. So the videos live longer, the information stays out there longer, which is helpful for us. And then if you go to our website, we've updated the grants webpage. We've added some ADA compliance with National Endowment of the Arts. And we've included more information on how to apply, when to apply, all the kind of technicalities that come with grants applications. So that's a nice redesign as well. And then, let me see. With ArtLinks, Sherry talked about it, the press release went out this week. And then I plan to periodically make posts promoting the speakers, including Veronica's here today. She's speaking at ArtLinks, and just kind of help bring it up every couple of weeks, every few days or so till October to keep up engagement and viewing of it. And the same thing to go with fellowships as well. I'll do more posts talking about the different categories. I'm also working on a video for Longlaw. He didn't get a video profile video done when he was awarded the Arcilla Living Treasure because of COVID. So I went down and visited with him last month, and he was absolutely ecstatic. And this was 2 weeks ago, and he's already asking where the video is. So I'm kind of promise it's coming. So I'm working on that. So hopefully we can now have a video profile for everyone over the last, I think, maybe 10 years, I believe. And then, like Sherry said, Governor's Arts Awards is now completely online for nominations. It's a really easy process. It's all on the Governor's Arts Awards webpage. And then I think that's it. Yeah. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Just, the value, looking at, when I first came here and now looking at what Lindsay's presented to you, I know a lot of it is just, web stats, but you look at the number of mentions, the number of times that we are mentioned in newspapers, in media outlets across the state, we have never been as high profile as we are now. I mean, we are a very much an online organization, and thanks to Lindsay and really kind of starting with Scarlett before Lindsay, when she was our PIO, we have so much of what we do is everything every service we provide has air cover from the notices in social media, press releases. So anyway, I just we have really become we put our name on a lot of people's lips across the state through this intensive public information campaign that we have been engaged in these last few years. So that's just my plug.
Yeah, keeping our name out there. Thank you all.
In a good way.
Together, yes. Not on a bad way. Yeah, that's definitely. Okay, we got also staff reports. Thank you, staff, again, y'all's great work. Keeping things moving. You have included in
Madam
packet the bylaws.
Excuse me, Madam President, if you don't mind.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
I'm a new employee that Patrick needs to introduce.
Oh,
we do. She's not here yet.
Yes, she
is. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am. Just feels like we've been together forever. we have a new grant specialist. That is the position that Frazier used to hold before she became the grants program manager. And our new specialist is Sabrina Bowman, who many of you may have already met before. Sabrina is, she has worked for the Department of Heritage for 2 years now. Are we two? Almost 2 years. But when the position came open, and she'd worked for Jimmy Bryant, so she was interested in the grant specialist position, and I knew the quality of her work, and so she has made the transition very well, and we're really excited. None more excited than Brazier. Brazier doesn't have to do 2 jobs, so but. We are excited to have Sabrina. She's a great part of the team.
Welcome, and sorry that we missed it. I'd read that in Brazier's report, but we didn't realize. So thank you.
And I apologize too. I mean, the reason I was confused is because we have hired a new administrative assistant. And that is Lourdes Jones, who will be starting with us next Monday. And you will get to know Lourdes probably at Art Links in particular. But anyway, we're excited to we will be at full staff.
Congratulations, especially to Brazier. So, welcome.
And I really apologize.
Okay, thank you. Now, lady, any other business that we need to bring up? Council members, anybody? I do notice that our bylaws that were amended May 4th, 2023, it's in our packet. And that we have membership limits. And I had a big note. Don't forget to fill out the panel reviews. So that's our third plug for that. Please, folks, please do that. It's always very informative to read all of that. District reports. Sandy, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, there's a lot of things going on in our region, and Peacemakers is a big annual concert. I say put on by young people. It's the younger generation, but with famous musicians. It was out at the amphitheater by the river, and I can only imagine how hot it was. I didn't go. It was outside, but they had a great attendance. And then something that's been going on for about 8 years, and it gets bigger every year, and that's Art on the Border. It's there's a board that works their heads off presenting this, and this year there were over 70 artists of all kinds, and they have increased that. I think the first one I went to had 9, and so it's at the AIC building, the Medical College's Research Center, which is a beautiful place. So I brought this just to pass around and let you see that. They're already working on next year. So if you'd like to show in it, Nancy, we need you to be one of the artists. Or come and see it. Yeah. Donna, anything you want to say about that? You went?
I spent a lot of money.
That's a good thing.
Oh, creative.
Right.
Thank you.
It's become one of the big events in the community, because on Friday night, there's a big reception and everybody gets to see art. And I bet there were 600 that came to the reception. And then it's all day Saturday. And it's just by contributions, because it does support a number of charities. But it's, a volunteer contribution.
Wonderful stuff. It was so much fun.
I think that's everything I think of.
Well, Bina, good. Okay.
It's not always at AIC, is it?
Well, they had it there last year after AIC started that building, and I think it'll be there from now on.
They had you had to hunt. There was 5 rooms and
yeah,
it was hard to find everything. So, I mean, you could miss a room real easily. I almost did. I mean, I don't know.
Thank you, Sandy. What else? The same part of the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to mention, since they mentioned Longwall, he did the mural in our Arts on Main, which is fabulous. I mean, it's just amazing. And he's really now a very integral part of he comes back like every month, and he's become really active in our Arts on Main. And he had a show, and he did a picture on a mirror of my daughter and my granddaughter, not her mother, but her and her niece, right? And he did some other local people in our community too. He painted pictures of local people. And so had to buy it, of course, but here's the thing. He does not want the money from that sale. He wants that money to go into a special fund, his portion of the money. And that special fund is going to be accumulate until we have enough money to pay him to do a big sculpture, maybe a water sculpture in Van Buren, which is going to be, someplace visible and maybe like a memorial for people that want to contribute. I would like to contribute to honor my mother and father. So I may have a bench there with their name on it, and somebody else could have a bench there for their spouse or their child or whatever, so it'll be like a community memorial space that people could come to and relax, and it's peaceful and, beautiful and what have you. So anything that he sells, he's forfeiting so we get double double the money, you might say. So anyway, that's really amazing that Longwall is willing to do that. And we're really happy that he has taken a liking to our community.
Yeah, very generous.
Very generous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies. We'll need Ramika unmuted so she can talk in just a minute. Nancy?
I want to report that I've met with Amanda at Delta Arts, and things are looking up. Things are moving forward. She's gotten donations. She's got promise of donations. As you remember, they kind of had a bump through COVID and a change of executive directors, but she has gotten very involved and found money and moving it forward. They had a great performance of the Crittenden Youth Theater, and I attended that, and I'm in contact with Amanda, and she's going to attend Art Links, and I think things are looking up thanks to all of you, and please stay in touch with her.
Thank you. Mary Ann?
Well, Northwest Arkansas is always hopping, as I always say, but I'd like to just say a few words today about a loss that we had in Northwest Arkansas. I don't know if you all know who Susan Morrison was. Susan was a huge gift to the state and to art all across the country and all around the world. When Alice Walton came up with the idea of Crystal Bridges, the very first time she brought people together and to introduce and to talk about Crystal Bridges, she brought in Susan and had a showing of Susan's work. And Alice is a huge collector of Susan's, as are a lot of people around the world. And in the last few years, I've been very blessed and honored to get to really know Susan. We bought a few things from her, and she passed away while we were gone out of the country. And it was such a shock, and there was no memorial or anything for her. And just wanted you to know, if you don't know who she is, Google and look up Susan Morrison. She does wildlife, and it's just spectacular work. So we have two of Susan's beautiful work.
Thank you for sharing that note with us. Yeah. Great. Ramika?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I guess the biggest thing I have to report on is the 150th birthday celebration for Texarkana. for our Twin Cities. We have all sorts of projects going on that have been going on and are going to continue to go on, from T-shirts designs to teas. But the biggest culmination will be actually 2 days before our Symphony Christmas concert. But it's a joint concert celebration preparation by the Arts and Historic District in downtown Texarkana, and it involves all the arts groups that are down here. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Chicago Symphony's Beyond the School work, educational work, but the symphony will be playing sort of underscore, and then we'll have a few feature numbers, the music to kind of carry this through, but we'll be involving, they'll be the only professionals involved. The rest will be all local people and participants, from actors to do little silhouettes of historical people and moments. We even talking with the Caddo Indian group with some of their natural, their ritual dances and so forth as a lead into the concert. But there'll be a narrator, some local singers. Our two piano guys will be on stage with the orchestra, and we're having a special piece commissioned. There'll be lots of video slides, historical things from the museum. So we're really excited about it. It's quite a project trying to put all this together, but anyway, we're excited about it. And then the other thing that we have coming, and I'm sure y'all know about this, the eclipse, the arc of the eclipse in April will come right through Texarkana, where we'll have the most dark time, which is probably 20 seconds. I don't know. Anyway, people are all excited about that. Symphony is going to do a Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon rock concert on that particular weekend. And people are really excited that we're already selling tickets for that, actually. Hotels and restaurants are excited. Of course, they're jacking up their room prices astronomically, but people are already renting. So we got on the art scene quick there with at least some music during the eclipse. So that's what the town's kind of buzzing about right now. The Main Street Texarkana has an Oktoberfest, which is coming up in October, which is an expansion on the Dine on the Line, where we actually put tables out on the state line downtown, and people eat there, and we have lots of performers and booths and so forth. So gearing up for the fall. That's
Very
it.
Good. Thank you, Ramika. Lots of fun things going on. Appreciate it. Thank you. A few things in my area of Arkansas. Calico Rock, our neighbor to the north, and someone that's involved with the Arts Council. They are a Main Street Arkansas project, and they've gotten lots of things going on there, which is great. It's really helping to revive Calico Rock with the projects they have with their museum and other venues. In Stone County, our career ed program that we've been working on for about a year and a half now, we have artistic blacksmithing has 4 students, and we will start September the 5th, and that's the maximum number of students, and we're very excited with that. Our fine woodworking program, we have 2 students, but we've lost our instructor. So if anybody knows someone that can do fine woodworking that would like to be in the Mountain View area, please send them my way. We don't want to put these students off.
Is that turning wood?
Well, it's all sorts of woodworking, fine woodworking, from building to turning, just everything. The curriculum is on the website. Anyway, so it looks like we'll get one class started, and if we find a teacher, we'll get the other class started. Also, something new for the craft school this summer, we also started professional development, went through the process with the State Department for professional development for teachers, and had workshops, everything from music, songwriting about Arkansas history, with Charlie Sandage to traditional things for the art teachers in the area. And they were real pleased because they didn't have to go far. And like with what Matt was talking about, they also didn't have to do a Zoom meeting. It was hands-on, and they like that. In our newsletter, we continue to advertise for events like the Governor's Art Awards to help spread the word, and other activities that the Arts Council is going on, has going on. September is Off the Beaten Path Studio Tour, 15th, 16th, and 17th of September. That's a fun time to come visit with artists in their studios. Sage Holland will be demonstrating beadwork at the craft school to be more accessible to people that like her work, because going down into Meadow Creek, it's a long way. And so she asked, and we said, well, sure, come on, Sage. And so she'll be at the craft school. They didn't have the brochures ready for me to bring, but it'll be out on Off the Beaten Path Studio Tour. And that is really interesting, and certainly helps out with the creative economy, because people coming by.
Yeah.
People coming by and talk to those artists. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I think that's it for what I have down. Please, again, don't forget the panel review to sign up for. We appreciate that. If you look on the back side, we kind of talked about what's in your packet. Is there anything else, Patrick, that we need to add? Okay. Donna, go ahead, Patrick, then Donna has an announcement. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, we've got, I'm preparing a report for Marty. It's because it has to be updated, that will show everyone who's still in need of a reappointment and that is currently on the council, and those that are those both that expired in 2022 and in 23, and then all the vacancies, because we've had some more since the last time I made that report, and I'm going to share that with Marty, and he's said he would try to help me get some appointments and perhaps some reappointments going here. But I have not forgotten about that. I have not heard back from Brant.
Oh, he's interested. Yeah, he was glad to hear. I'll get on to him. I'll see him today.
And so I would encourage everyone who has expired this year, Anthony Tidwell, Marianne, you and Ramika, if you all will go to the governor's website and reapply, then that will make sure, because I know they have a new system now. If you can reapply there, you're in the system. And whenever they do decide to make appointments, that's where they'll be looking. And so if you're interested in continuing your service, then I certainly encourage that. I'll send the link out to all of you to make sure you've got it.
We applied for those of us going off in 22, but they've changed it since then. Do we need to reapply?
They have, and I thought I'd ask y'all to do that. So if you haven't, then go to just go to the website, the governor's website, and they have the portal there.
I think I have, but it's been so long.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I sent everybody the email.
Yeah, we did, but then they changed the.
It was after the in January. It would have been in January. Yeah.
Okay, so go out to the governor's website and do it again.
Yeah, make sure that you've got your.
Okay.
Yeah. But that, I just want to let you know, I have not forgotten about that, and we are moving forward. Hopefully something will give.
Thank you. Did we hear from Rebecca about the meeting?
I've not heard.
Okay. Okay. Is, Donna, you have
Yeah,
something?
just an announcement, if you don't mind, but if you all went to Van Buren and rode that bus that we toured around, I bought the bus. And so we have set up a company to really assist Arts on Main. They couldn't afford the bus and the insurance to go with it and keep the bus busy enough to pay all those expenses. So we're setting it up and we're making it available to nonprofits, governments, businesses, whoever, to go to galleries. I heard about the Eclipse thing in Texarkana, and I'm making notes because I could take a bus down to Texarkana. So what I'm asking is, if you have something very interesting in your community that you feel like we could fill the bus and bring a busload to your community for an event. We want to go to festivals, we want to go to galleries, we want to go to events, things like that. Let me know and, put it on my radar so I can put it on our website's magicaltoursinc.com, and we can get a tour scheduled and see if we can have interest, and we'll bring a busload to your community for an event. I hope so. I hope it works. It may not. We'll see. Yeah.
Anything else, Patrick?
Do we need to do mileage forms?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
We've got the forms. We don't leave here without us getting your signatures.
Save you postage for sending it to us or sending it online.
Yeah, Tangent was handling that in the absence of our administrative assistant, and then she's out of town, so she prepared them.
Okay. Can we take care of Ramika? Well, she won't have one.
Won't have one.
She won't have one. I'm sorry. I was going to give you mileage, gosh, Jen. Okay, very good. Okay. If there's anything else, anyone? Marty, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just thank you all for your work.
Well, we appreciate you being here today.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much.
I learned a lot.
Okay, good. I know we work under you, but you're always welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if not, do we have an adjournment?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second, everybody, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you all. Y'all travel safe back home.
Thank you.
Yes, I do. Yeah, you're okay.
So that's very important. And it's a good friend of mine that chairs it every year. So anything I can do.
Is it outside?
Right on Cantor's desk.
Oh, it's inside. I was saying outside. No, it was inside.
Oh, good.
So, yes, it's
I'm,
great big room one time. Big room
we could do
inside
more.
the main room. So cars on all sides.
So is it like?
My friend said they streamlined, a little easier.
They have tables and then they have their stands behind, what am I trying to say? Where you can hook things and hang paintings and stuff on. So, not so much fun.
Yes.
I was listening to one artist talk about 5 or 6, but then others may bring 30. It's just
Embarrassing, just take everything.
Not officially.
Okay.
Friday night from 6 to 9. All day Saturday. I'm sure. Saturday. Agency, they work the hospitality.
Well, everybody else is.
So I don't know if it.
They'll say you'll give me a lot more.
Oh, they want to give me. So I didn't know. But enough. She said, I want to tell you, I show all over the country. Oh, thank you.
Very good.
So evidently.
Last September.
I have to get my glasses. I can't see.
I know, it's very tiny.
Wonderful.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I think.
All right, where do we sign? Employer?
Employee, yeah.
Oh, he used to be. Running through the arts. And they. His battle.
Okay.
Recording stopped.
Bet you this.
Thank you. But he wants to have our report by October. For the grant meeting.
It is ended, Lindsay.
Yeah.